All right, folks, come gather back into your pews. And to all of you online, come back to the screen. What a joyous sound of community around us. So now is the time for what we call the story of all ages. And we have a few of the kids here with us today. Some of them are already in session. But in reality, we're all a bunch of kids. So my story today is on St. Francis of Assisi and his brother, one of his brothers, Juniper. So does anybody know how to say St. Francis in Spanish? San Francisco, yes. San Francisco, the town in which, the city in which we are. And when people think of St. Francis, we often think of this free-spirited person running through the streets, helping the poor, making peace, and that is true. But Francis, also, one of the great things he did as a human being, when Francis came from a family that actually had a lot of wealth, and a family that was growing their wealth at the same time while they were watching more and more people be impoverished and be on the streets. And Francis had this dream in the early part of his life that he was going to be a hero, to be a knight in shining armor and go off to war. And so he did do that, but shortly was captured and put in prison. And that dream was kind of shattered. When he left prison after about a year, he was in a deep depression, and really a turning moment in his life to say, what is the purpose of my life? What am I to do? And in that turning point is when he really began to notice this growing disparity, the language we use today, the income inequality that was all around and that was affecting people's lives. So Francis set out, and what he did was he wanted to help the people and somehow not only help the people by providing food for them, but he also wanted to get others to join in with them. And people began to follow him. So one of the people that followed him was Brother Juniper. Now, Brother Juniper was a very simple kind of fella, and he did things always that people weren't really sure about. And one of them was he never liked to see that somebody was in the streets without something to eat or the clothes that they needed to have on them. So Brother Juniper was famous for going out into the streets in the daytime with his robe, his tunic on, and returning at night without it, because he always found somebody who needed it more than he did. So after a few times of this, his superiors, his ministers, said to him, "Juniper, you cannot give away your clothes anymore. Under the vow of obedience, you cannot do this." So Brother Juniper, though it was a difficult one, he decided, okay. So the next day when he went out into the streets and he met somebody who said, "I am cold. Can you give me your tunic?" And Brother Juniper said, "I can't give it to you, but you can take it from me." And so the person did, because he needed it. For Brother Juniper, it was more important for him to creatively find a way around the rules and the restrictions in order to meet the needs of the people before him. So Francis once said, "I wish I had a forest of junipers." So all of you, all of us, may we be a forest of junipers.